Tampa Bay's Tan Talk, entertaining and informative radio for Sunshine State.
It's now time for Connecting Caregivers with author, speaker, caregiver advocate, and talk show host Linda Burhans, the gal who cares for caregivers.
Caregivers around the world today. It's time to lift you up. It's time to celebrate. Good afternoon and welcome to Connecting Caregivers with me, Linda Burhans, the gal who cares for the caregivers with love, laughter, and lessons learned, because I got a whole bunch of that stuff.
You do.
And with me, as always, is my best friend, my co-host, and my sidekick, not psychic, Lynn Thornley.
Hello and welcome back to the warm country.
Oh, warm country. I just came back from Germany, and I'm still cold. It was cold. It was snow every single day.
Cold?
What'd you say, Bobby?
I said cold, you say?
Yes, very cold. Like nose running all the time behind my mask, and you have to wear a mask all the time there. And each day, if you wanted to go visit museums, you had to go be tested each time. But they had the testing down, but more people have been up my nose than I would have ever expected. But all in all, it was a great trip. I'm still a little jet lagged, 10 hours on a plane and then 3-hour layover and then another 3 hours. But we're here and we're good and it's all good.
And you had a good time and that's what counts.
I had a great time. It was with my daughter and my granddaughter and my grandson, and I couldn't have asked for anything more. So it was all fabulous. So I'd like to give a shout out to our newest listeners. We have Elise in St. Pete, we have Monica in Tampa, and we have Sylvia in Ohio.
Well, welcome, ladies.
And like I say, there is always plenty of room around the Connecting Caregivers table for more listeners. You're welcome to listen to us when we're live or on YouTube or Facebook or the recordings or wherever you can.
And now we're on Fridays at 1.
Now we're on Fridays at 1. I still think it's Saturday. I don't even know what's going on.
I know.
I'm here. Now I'm just so glad Bobby's here.
Yes,
Hello,
hey, Bobby.
hello, happy 2 weeks till Christmas.
Yeah, 2 weeks till Christmas.
Oh, that's right. Tomorrow, right?
Well, Christmas Eve, sorry. I should say 2 weeks till Christmas Eve.
And today we have one of my special guests today is Dr. Delon Canterbury. I love Dr. Delon Canterbury. He's a brilliant man. He was part of my my conference, and I just love everything he does. So hello, Delon. How are you today?
Hey, happy Friday, guys. How are you all?
Joyful and grateful, as always.
You know it. I can definitely say the same. I'm looking forward to the weekend and the holidays. So happy holidays to you guys.
Thank you. So, Delon, before we go any further, I think probably some of our listeners already know you and some of the people from the conference, but probably others don't. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what's happening right now.
Yeah, for sure. So I am your personal pharmacist. I started GeriatRx, which is a senior care medication deprescribing company. And so we use telehealth to reduce the harm of preventable medication errors that we see way too often in our seniors. And so we provide telehealth services focusing on genetic testing, medication deprescribing, and healthcare cost savings. So basically, like how you may have a lawyer represent you, we are going to be those guys for your health care. And that's what GeriatRx aims to do, and support our caregivers who are just kind of at wit's end with medications.
Yeah,
And
they have enough to think about.
And what would you consider geriatric age?
Well, honestly, it does vary. There's no hard number, but I say 60 and up.
Yeah, someone told me that. I thought it was 80.
Oh, gosh.
That's what I was figuring.
Just since we're
Geriatric.
over 60.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah. I mean, we're all young at heart, right? So,
Yes.
It does depend on their clinical scenario, but yeah, 60 and up's my good number.
Well, I hear horror stories every single day about medications.
Yeah.
About too much medication. And people need somebody like you on their team just to help them with that, because they don't know. They could be going to 3 different doctors and the doctor's saying, take this, take that, and they just blindly take it.
Mm-hmm. It's so true. I mean, we blindly believe everything is safe, and having that advocate behind the scenes can really prevent harm. And that's one of our claims to fame, was helping a family prevent themselves from admitting her involuntarily into a nursing home. And it's because she was on 36 medications.
36.
All worth 36, 36. She was on 36, one of our hallmark cases. And so we were able to prove not only to her family, but to a jury of her peers that one, she's being over medicated. Two, the symptoms are pinpointed to these 4 or 5 drugs. And 3, we showed that it wasn't her declining, it was the meds. And so we were able to keep her out of a nursing home and allow her to keep her home and bank account and assets, which they were unfortunately trying to be settled in an ugly case battle with her family.
That's terrible. You know, we have to, because especially our seniors, including myself, we trust everything the doctor says.
Yeah.
And we don't ask questions because we don't know what to ask. And I think that's where this whole genetic testing is so important. So tell our listeners a little bit about that, because I've done it myself, and I think it's the most fabulous thing there is.
Yeah, I love it. So it's one of my favorite things to advocate for. But basically, this field of precision medicine is the ability to cross-check your medication with your body without you taking a single pill. And so what this report looks at is how well you break down drugs. So it's completely tailored to your body, your ethnicity, your ancestry. They all have different roles when you come from different parts of our world. And so this report, this is not like an ancestry and me kind of test. This is literally a test that looks at specific drugs, the top 200 more commonly used drugs. And we are able to see, hey, based on this, you may need a higher dose. Or
Right.
based on this, you should avoid this completely because you have a higher risk of a sensitivity reaction or something harmful. So that's the goal of genetic testing, is to be more precise with our prescribing habits. But even better, just give more of that trust that you kind of have lacking sometimes when it comes to those meds and whether it's really right for me.
And so when a client comes to you and they say they want the genetic testing and they get the results, how are their doctors responding to this?
So that's kind of the tricky part, is that some doctors aren't really as familiar. So there is a little bit of educating
Right.
that is required to share the results with the patient and the doctor. But once they see that first time like report and they get the rundown of how this can really improve their prescribing practices, they're more open to it. And so we're able to have a continued dialogue so we can help more patients. But this is the future of medicine. This is not going away.
Right.
And we frankly use it for all types of care, especially in cancer. Pretty much every cancer has some type of genetic treatment. So why not use that same approach for dementia or blood pressure or cholesterol? And tons of drugs that we use can vary based on people's response. Like, for instance, opioids for pain management.
Uh-huh.
So all of these things can be really assessed clearly with this test to predict the risk reduction and improve prescribing practices, and not just hoping something works.
Well, I'm sure a lot of the doctors they want you on their team. They're like, this is a good thing.
Yeah. And not to mention, it's more affordable now. Like when this first came out, it was thousands and thousands of dollars. You can pretty much get a kit now for upwards of $300, if not a little bit more than that. And in some cases, TRICARE, Medicare, and Medicaid can pay for it.
Right.
So that it makes it even more a stronger case to get it done if it can improve your care.
And you have a study going on now?
I do. So I have a passion for dementia awareness. And so I'm helping with the preventable study. And it's a study that's funded by the National Institute on Aging. And the whole goal is to recruit 75-year and older seniors who are otherwise healthy, 1,000 75-year-old patients who aren't taking a statin currently, so that we can randomize them to either get a placebo or a statin to see if the statin worsens or improves their dementia symptoms, or if it prevents the recurrence of dementia symptoms. Excuse me.
And if their cholesterol stays in line.
Of course. Of course. So yeah, it's also a protective heart study as well. So this is really impassioned for me. So they're recruiting all over the nation. So if you're interested, definitely contact me directly. If you know any loved ones who just are considering a statin or haven't started one yet, this is a great opportunity for us to get the real data so we can finally learn if it's the statin or if it's something else.
But it's only for people over 75. Don't you think there's a lot of 65-year-olds that doctors are pushing statins on them?
I actually do. I mean, and that's kind of just the guidelines of current practice is once we do a calculator of people's risk, they're more likely to be given a statin than not. So I do agree. It's a little difficult finding someone 75 and up who still isn't on one. So it's a little harder, but that's why it's so important so that we can compare if there's an actual preventative benefit or not.
One of the first tests that you and I are too young for.
So what does it actually entail?
Honestly, not too much. There is an initial lab draw. So once you get your labs or your first lipid panel, really they'll follow you up for about 2 to 4 years, and they're going to call you once a month just to see if you're having any symptoms or any changes in anything, all while you're going to have your medication completely mailed to your home. So there's a phone call that you'll get every month just to see how things are going.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, initially, it's just an initial lab draw, a questionnaire to see if you qualify. And from then on, you're in the trial.
So then if you qualify, then are they going to regularly draw blood from you or something?
They will do it annually. So there'll be
Okay.
an annual draw. And then
Only annually.
So it's a long test. It's 2 years, you said?
yeah, it's long term. So they want to really look at the data from 20,000 people. So this is going to be the largest study for patients 75 and up to really look at this problem and see if there's an actual cause from statins.
And when
Wow.
does this start exactly?
It's enrolling right now. So honestly, people can join right now. They can contact me. I have information about it, so I can give if need be, a more in-depth discussion. But we're going to stop rolling in 2025, so we still have ways to go. But we just started enrollment this fall, so still going on.
Very interesting. And all this information will be on the show of how they can contact you and everything. All right. Besides this test, what do you want to say to my caregivers? What do they need to pay attention to?
Man, there's so much going on. I know it might be a little late now, but I think it's extremely important when we start talking about Medicare and open enrollment period to really just make sure that you're getting the best plan that you can. All because you had a plan work for you 1 year doesn't mean it's still the cheapest and best plan for you.
Right.
That's definitely where you want to rely on your local SHIP counselors, and those are state health insurance and information, basically counselors who can guide you on which plans are best and provide objective information so you're not flooded with commercials and calls about, join this company or that company. So those SHIP counselors are completely free, and you can usually find them through your local area agency on aging office. But again, I implore people to really assess if that plan is still best for them, because sometimes people think, I've had it for a while,
Yeah.
it's fine.
Yeah.
If they have that one medication that goes up in the copay, you're going to be surprised when January hits and you're paying a lot more.
What happens when, daughter comes home to visit for the holidays? A lot of people haven't seen people for a while with COVID and everything. This may be the first time they've seen somebody in 2 years. And I go into mom's kitchen and I see like 14 bottles of medication on the counter. Right away, that freaks me out. How do I
Sure.
start? What do I do?
I love this question. So really, it does first start with a dialogue. One thing I like to address with the patient is, what are you taking this for? Like, you tell me, can you tell me why you're still on certain things?
Because the doctor said so. Because I have this medication. I don't know what it is, but he told me to take it every day.
Exactly. And so now we got to get to the bigger details. Why exactly? What are they treating? What's the indication? What's the timeline? Every medication should be pretty much addressed with a little bit of skepticism, like a healthy dose. Like, okay, is this dose appropriate? Do I still need this? If I'm having a symptom, can I stop? Like, having these open-ended dialogues, not only with the patient and caregiver, but with the doctor, can prompt them to make changes. So when I see people who are on over 5 pill medications, we know statistically that there's a higher risk of non-compliance and basically a lack of them taking it as written. So the more, if you're talking 10 and 14 and 15, you're going to want to start seeing why is everything here. And that's what you want to ask the doctor and your local pharmacist, who can help you pick out the ones that you may not need anymore.
Yeah, you really need to talk to your pharmacist. Lots of times I think you get more information from the pharmacist than you do anywhere else. And I find it very difficult too when you go over to mom's house and there's however many prescriptions there, and 5 of the pills look exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
They're the same size, they're the same color, they're the same. And I think sometimes mom doesn't even know what she's taking. And I think mom just keeps taking what she thinks she's supposed to be taking. And I think many times they may have and correct me if I'm wrong, they may be having an adverse effect from one medication. Instead of realizing that the effect is from that medication, they just add another medication on top of it.
Exactly. And that's exactly why I started GeriatRx, to give this personal care straight to people's homes. And that's what I keep finding. I find duplicate therapies. I find over-the-counters that are equivalent to prescription meds. I find meds that should have been stopped 10 years ago, but they didn't because they didn't write it. So doctors don't want to take on the onus of just saying, well, you don't need it, let's stop it. They're like, well, I didn't write it, so I don't feel like I should intervene. So what you're referring to, Linda, is spot on. It's called the prescribing cascade. Literally a medication being written for a side effect from another medication. And then you find that other one's called side effects, and it's pretty much a circle of death. That's unnecessary.
I have my friend here just walked into the studio, Colette, Florido, and she is with CR World and a bunch of other things. She has something to say. She's like sitting at the chair like, can I say something?
Well, first of all, that's pretty much how we started. Was the whole conversation with my father was physically he was well, dementia was setting in. Here's a medication for what we normally do for protocol for dementia, which really isn't going to stop the dementia. It's merely to maybe calm some of the effects. But it does create more side effects, which then were being addressed with more medications. And that was that cascade. I had never heard it called that, but I mean, that coupled with my husband, who just went through shingles, walked into his doctor, and without ever using a pain medication in his life, or at least under this doctor's care, they wrote him a 30-day oxy prescription. Thankfully, it is that pharmacist. Well, let's not get into that right now. But the pharmacist caught it and said, we're going to start you at 7 days.
Yeah, that's normally that.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's as simple as the doctor said so, and the patient doesn't feel that empowerment to be able to say, I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think that's right. And so it is about the daughter saying, Mom, are you sure? Let's talk with your doctor about all of these things.
Well, recently, at the end of October, my sister was in a serious car accident, both her and her husband, very serious, head-on collision. And at one point, his daughter went to the pharmacist to pick up a prescription for her husband. And the pharmacist said, have you ever heard of Narcan? Or whatever. And she said, my dad's not a drug addict. And he said, I'm not saying your dad's a drug addict. I said, but the amount of prescriptions that your dad is on right now, he could overdose.
Wow.
Scary.
Wow.
Who would know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just so frightening.
There's actually a cutoff that flags us to give that alert as a retail pharmacist and as a geriatric pharmacist. I've had to do that myself. And it's not, I would never say, hey, you're a drug addict, but we are actually required after a certain threshold of oxycodone use in a day to have that conversation.
Yeah.
So that's a significant amount to be given just for an acute issue.
Yeah, our pharmacists are really good about that. They put me on a statin just this year, and my pharmacist called me and said, how are you doing on it? And I was fine. But I've never had a pharmacist call me. But I think they have a lot of problems with these statins. I know my sister had to get off hers.
Yeah, the most frequently reported issue truly is the muscle ache.
That's what she had, yeah.
Symptoms, and it can cause some bone pain, joint pain. It's like about 5% of people who take statins who are, over 60 or not over 60 who experience this. And so that's actually something that our genetic test can kind of help identify, is that we find certain people just can't break down certain types of drugs. And
Right.
if you have a certain gene, it actually can tell me that you're going to have a higher risk of having muscle pain. And that's just from this genetic test. So that's what I love about being more precise with our medication use and showing that the community can use this with their doctor to get the best out of their care and avoid unnecessary harm.
So, Delon, what's the option other than a statin?
Oh, well, they have a couple of other options. They do have a newer injectable that is relatively expensive. It does do the job. They do have some of the older drugs, like what are called fibric acid or phenylfibrate. That's a good one. It raises HDL, but it doesn't lower LDL as much.
What about diet? What about garlic? What about that kind of stuff?
Mediterranean diet is always a plus. More fish oil, getting omega-3s.
Yeah, I take 4,000 fish oils a day, 4,000.
4,000 milligrams.
And it helped me for 10 years, but then I got to the point, no.
Mm-hmm.
I think, that all of a sudden, like, this new med comes out and everybody's on the same med. Oh, you want a statin? You want a statin and you could have a statin.
Right? The marketing dollars are flowing here.
Yeah.
Right. No, I hear you, man. We get tired of it. And so we're tired of the same drug, different day kind of nonsense. So that's why we more preventative measure and emphasize the lifestyle changes and, of course, dietary and exercise habits.
Thanks so much for being with me, my friend. What's the last thing you want our listeners to hear today?
Well, I am actually on a mission to show other senior care providers how they can implement deprescribing into their work, into their clinical practice. So I am starting a new training program that's going to teach people to spot these signs of over-medicating and give you my tips and expertise. So if you're interested in maybe building some additional revenue for your site or working with a pharmacist who knows our patient, let's have a conversation. This is our deprescribing accelerator. So we're only piloting for 7 to 10 people, but this is one-on-one training that lasts 3 months, and you will have access to not only my pharmacist brand, but a new way of approaching deprescribing in your clinical setting.
That's just fabulous. Thanks so much, Delon. We'll talk soon. I'll put all the information on the show, and have a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, guys.
Thank you.
And now we're going to hear from our wonderful sponsors, because you know the deal. If you don't hear from them, you don't hear from me.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Are you looking for compassionate and dependable home care for you or a loved one? Assisting Hands Home Care, serving Pinellas and Pasco counties, can help.
The day came that taking care of my mother was no longer the best thing for me or for her. Between kids and a job, I couldn't give her the attention she needed and deserved, and I was overwhelmed. So I reached out to Assisting Hands Home Care. Now I can see what an important decision that was, and I feel confident that my mother has compassionate and dependable caregivers who help her to stay happy, healthy, and home. Today, I'm able to visit with my mother and enjoy our time together, which is exactly what we both needed.
Assisting Hands Home Care. Call today for your free in-home consultation. In Pinellas, call 727-748-4211 or visit assistinghands.com. When you can't do it all, give Assisting Hands a call.
Arden Courts is not just a place to live. It's a place to call home. Residential living combined with quality caregiving. This is the philosophy behind Arden Courts. Communities created exclusively for individuals with Alzheimer's disease and related dementia who would benefit from a safe and structured environment. For additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides, call 888-478-2410 to locate a community nearest you. Inquire about our educational seminars, resource library, or support groups, or simply feel free to ask questions you may have about Alzheimer's and related dementias. At Arden Courts, we know, we understand, and we can help because memory care is all we do. Remember, call 888-478-2410 for additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides.
I see trees of green,
Red roses too.
I see them blue for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Okay, caregivers, now it's time for the caregiver affirmation. Take a minute, take a deep breath, sit down, close your eyes if possible, and just listen to these words. I know on my journey there is help and hope. I affirm that I am a good caregiver, that I try my best each day, and I recognize that I deserve to have my own needs met just as much as those for whom I care. I promise I will not allow myself to be consumed by my caregiving role, and I will set aside time in my busy schedule just for me. I am mindful of the other caregivers in my life, and I will let them know that I appreciate their efforts. I am grateful for the people that walk beside me. I will take good care of my own health physically and spiritually, drink enough water, eat quality foods, allow for time to rest and to exercise, laugh often, if only at myself, and seek medical attention for my own health concerns. I am who I am, and I allow others to be who they are. Today I will add one item to my assisting angels list. Then if someone calls to say, let me know if there's something I can do, I will be ready to accept their offer and provide them with the opportunity to assist me. It is an honor to be of service of others, and I will not deny my friends and family this honor. Okay, think about it, caregivers.
So one of my caregivers sent me an email yesterday, and she said, I asked my two friends if they could come over and help me decorate for Christmas because it was just too much for me to do.
Oh, I wish she asked me.
Yeah, you're good at that. Her house looks like Macy's, I swear. But she said, I was feeling really sad because I didn't think I could handle it, that I could do it, with my mom and everything. And she goes, I just was feeling really sad. And I thought, what the heck? Let me ask. She said, and they came over and we had a great afternoon. And they baked some cookies too and whatever. And she said, and I realized, I could almost cry saying this. She says, I realized not just did they help me, but they helped my mom. Because her mom had other people there to see her. Yeah. Her mom could enjoy. Her mom said, oh, I'm so glad. She said, you smiled today, honey. So when somebody wants to help you, it could be something as simple as that. Can you just come over and help me decorate the tree? Can you just pick up a couple of things for the store? Maybe you could wrap some presents for me. So
I love all that stuff.
Yeah,
as long as you don't ask me to cook.
So Lynn's number is 727. Yeah. So Colette, it's so great to have you on the show.
Oh, it's so good to be back.
It's been a long time.
And we go a long way back. I mean, we met when I did a support group, and she came
when
to
you
the
were
support
geriatric.
Group. Yeah. Tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and where you're at and what's going on now, because there's a lot of good stuff.
Oh
it's
my
very
gosh!
Exciting.
So when we started, this was because I was at my wit's end. I had a newborn at the time. She's now 6.
Yeah, I remember.
Oh, it's been
you
that
were
fast.
pregnant.
I was still pregnant.
Right.
And so imagine a mom who's probably hormonal to begin with. Now add this in, and then dad is declining. It was so hard, emotionally, mentally, physically, like the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, though the baby was born and there was joy in our world, and even for my dad, the dementia was really hard. And so that was the voyage that I went on. And at that point, the turn of events was when I realized how much cannabis and the CBD version, the hemp version of cannabis, could impact positively our caregiving, not just for my dad, but for myself and our family. So I went on that journey. I helped to remove some of the medications that the doctors had stacked on, and that whole medication cascade. One by one, we removed those behavioral meds. We had more glimpses of happiness, more cohesive moments where he was a little more coherent. It felt more right, righter. And it just felt like we were on the right path. So I knew that I had to share it with other caregivers. I launched CR World back in 2017, which is a trusted premium CBD product line. And what I realized was just that not only did the caregiving world not know about it, but the rest of the world, we're all catching up.
Yeah.
What's CBD? What's THC? What's this new Delta 8? What is all of
Oh, I
it?
haven't heard of that.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about that one too. Yeah, but the idea was I had to take a step back and go, okay, we've got to help educate first. And so here I am today. I have a new role. My official title is, you love this one?
Yeah.
Is CCNBW number 2. You want to guess what that is, Lynn? Chief Cook and Bottle Washer number 2. I am at the center at St. Pete Beach. And the Center for St. Pete Beach is something
I can't wait to come down there.
You haven't seen anything like it. At least I haven't. The Center at St. Pete Beach is a cannabis-centric wellness community. The thought here is we are trying to normalize and destigmatize the use and the conversation of cannabis and even over-the-counter cannabis, the CBD, the hemp, to understand that. We're also giving that education, the platform of the education, and it's the community that I think makes it the most unique. When you come into this space, first of all, the building itself is right. You've driven past it if you've been on St. Pete Beach. It's right at 75th and Blind Pass. Shares with Lenny's Bike Shop, and what it has is so many little things going on. So first and foremost, we have a recommending doctor's office, a medical marijuana doctor who can make recommendations to somebody to get their medical card.
Right.
There's also the wellness aspect of it. So we have this beautiful wellness studio where we have yoga classes, meditation, belly dancing,
I got a belly.
dance classes. Oh, everybody says they can shake it. I've yet to see everyone come and shake it, but I'm there. It's Monday nights at 7:00. So you come and see me. So we do the belly dancing, but all sorts of classes that are happening in this yoga studio, in this wellness studio. Then we have a treatment room, and in the oh my gosh, it is the most serene, comfortable space with just the little water trickling on the sides and the bamboo. It's just a calming space. So we have physical therapists, we have massage therapists, cupping. We have somebody that's doing private personalized fitness training. We talked about how important the diet and the exercise is to our wellness. So this is what we call integrative medicine and wellness.
Yeah.
So you have the chance now to be able to talk about a medicine that a lot of doctors are still not 100%. They're still gaining their footing on it. So come to a place where we can talk with the doctor and we can say, well, these are the situations. And and
there's other people there to talk to that have tried it, that have done it, that are on. It's not like you're just going in a place blind,
right?
And getting a card, and then you go to a dispensary. You have no idea. What's what.
It's there's so much happening. It's not the same as it used to be a brownie or a dime bag. You know, that's what anybody knew if they used it once in their life. You know, the reality is today it truly is medicine. I mean, you know, I carry around what I've been using lately, which is this little device. Looks like an inhaler.
Yeah.
Delivers my cannabis medicine in a way that I'm not smoking it. I'm not going to cough when I breathe it in. It's discreet. It's easy for me to get a single dose. So, I mean, it's things like this. This is a Move product, by the way. So these are some of the things that are available and that we try and educate. So for instance, tonight we have this cool kitchen space at the center at St. Pete Beach, and they're going to have an infused class. It's infuse your medicine into your food, because we as caregivers, we're getting tired of seeing the same. You can have it in gummies or chocolate, gummies or chocolate, brownies, things like that. Well, I'm trying to watch the sugars. I'm trying to watch the things going in. So let's talk about using a coconut oil or an olive oil or a premium butter so you can infuse it in there. And that way you can experience that. And you can also now learn how to put it into your day so you're not having it all at once, but you can maybe have that nano effect, that micro dosing
so
effect.
Important. The education is so important.
Yeah.
And so many people have been so fearful about this.
Oh yeah. It's hard because we've been told for so long cannabis is bad. Drugs are bad. And yet drugs are bad.
Drugs are bad.
Yes. And so maybe we could get off of some of those drugs and actually use cannabis that's more natural. It's a plant-based medicine. And it just allows you to integrate it in topically and ingesting it. And we have, of course, CR World products are there. So,
Right.
we do get to feature all of the premium products because we know that people are going to look for different things. One person might need it for topical relief, for pain. Someone else is coming for sleep. They're looking
Right.
for, an
Just want to go to
ability.
sleep.
Yeah, I'm just not getting a full night's sleep. Some want to fall asleep. And I find that that's where the THC is the most helpful. But some are having the more trouble staying asleep.
Right.
So that's where I believe CBD has made more of an impact. And CBG is really coming along, one of the other cannabinoids. So we know that if you can find the right blend for you, maybe that those digestive issues that you're having, probably from some of the medications you're on, as well as the stress that you're taking in, whether you're a caregiver or a mom like myself,
Right.
or
you're just living today.
just living today's dream,
Yeah.
it's the
It's all there.
challenges. Yeah.
Oh, it was funny. Right before COVID, I spoke at this. It was a Rotary group, and at the end they do happy dollar, sad dollar, and everybody chips in a dollar, says something, and one guy goes, 30 years ago we moved down to Florida. We went over to my son's house one day, and he had this big bong on his table. He goes, my wife said, "This is a drug house. I'll never come in this. Our son's a drug addict. I'll never come in this house again." He goes, "This morning I took her to pick up her medical marijuana." So, but
It's how it goes. It's
because that's what everybody thinks of.
It's a pivot that is happening. It's happening, slowly. Obviously, we still have to understand how to use it. It doesn't mean that you can use this medicine and, all of a sudden know that you can just get behind the wheel and drive. You still have to understand what the
Right.
medicine does for you,
Yeah.
how your effects are, whether it's THC or even CBD that doesn't have quite that euphoric high that comes along
Right.
with it. First of all, it just gives you the absence of pain. So you might want to, you might feel like you're dancing along, but you do need to make sure that you responsibly try it out at home, see how things go. And again, that's where the community can help to find a good starting point for you.
Because I think even when people today, they'll go and they'll get their card, but they're still afraid to talk to anybody else about it.
Right. It's still just a taboo conversation
Yeah.
in certain circles.
I mean, I went into a place one day and I walked in and somebody that used to be in a caregiver support group, and she goes, "Hi, Linda, you didn't see me." And I was like, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
But,
It is. It's something that we're having to make a cultural shift on, to understand that, look, this to me was one of the most beneficial introductions of medicine into my dad's caregiving and for my own sanity.
Well, didn't he have a potty mouth or something?
Oh, he had a potty mouth. He had some sexual advances with his caregivers. I would
Yeah.
flip caregivers weekly. Weekly, I was losing them.
Yeah, I had that problem with my
Yeah.
husband.
Yeah.
But it helped.
It did. It did. And I think the biggest one, it was measurable. I think that the most interesting was that measurable difference. So by incorporating in more CBD into his diet, we noticed that he was sleeping through the night, which meant that the caregivers could now sleep
Oh,
through the
God,
night.
yes.
So instead of a 12-hour shift, for instance, they could stay a 24-hour shift. That was a $1,300 a month savings just because my dad was sleeping through the night.
Yeah.
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 On top of not flipping another caregiver, on top of not
I
having a
know.
call at 2 a.m. because he's fallen and the paramedics are there and I'm the only one that can talk him into
Down, right.
cooperating.
Yeah.
Those are those caregiving moments that,
Yeah.
that have you seeking out people like Linda and the Caregiver,
Just
Connection
help,
Radio.
please.
Help. Somebody must know.
So tell me about this challenge you had, this wellness
Oh my
challenge.
gosh. So this was such a
This
fun
is
thing.
interesting to me.
This is a fun thing. So one of the things that we immediately have been focusing on, and this is like such a perfect crossover from my world. So I've been on the Better Living for Seniors Mental Health Awareness Committee. And so when I joined at the center at St. Pete Beach, I realized that they were doing something focused for veterans. The Wellness Challenge 22 was to bring attention to the fact that we still are losing 22 veterans a day to suicide, and that so much of that can be
22 a
addressed
day.
with mental health wellness. And we know that many of the folks that we had an amazing speaker panel that day of educators, folks that have been through it. We had veterans, we had family members who have lost, we had doctors, nurses, we had Carol Barkalow. She was the one of the first females in the graduating class at West Point. And now she runs this really cool nonprofit in town. And it's just so many things happening. So the Veterans Wellness Challenge 22 was an event to just bring awareness to the fact that this, one, it's happening, and two, that perhaps the combination of the wellness aspect and cannabis or CBD could make a positive impact on a veteran. And really, we want to open that conversation. And I have to give credit to the Flag Hero team who participated with us and the Florida Cannabis Coach. These guys really helped to integrate it back to all the VFWs, the VAs, to connect with them where they are. And I mean, we just saw it firsthand where they're still staying connected because they came to that event. One of the things that Pablo had talked about, and I think it's really interesting when we talk about our friends who are caregivers, is he does like a check-in with them. And it's just a daily check-in, looking for feedback. And all he's looking for is good copy, or bad copy. And it's a signal to say, I'm having a great day or a good day. I'm here, or I'm having I'm struggling, because we know it's really hard to ask for help. It's really hard to say things.
Yeah.
So to be able to talk about that. So again, having that at the center, having a platform for them to be able to speak about it, and just being enlightened on how we can, as citizens, help our veterans out. And so we're going to be doing that again in 2022. We're actually going to be working on, we just started working on a new weight loss and wellness approach, still focused on the veterans, but really because we know how integrated all of it is. So the food and how we take care of our bodies.
Have it all in place, and there's different things.
Yeah.
You know, the conference I just did, I had, Dr. Bernstein, Melissa Bernstein, about healthy living, and then each day at lunchtime we had yoga or EFT or whatever. And this stuff is so important. And so many people came away from the conference saying, I didn't know about that before.
Right.
Or I didn't realize that. And just a few minutes of breathe, you got to tell people to breathe.
Right. And that was actually one of the things that we did leading up to it, because it is a challenge. And of course, we've been really put to the test these last couple of years. So even during our meetings, we would have to stop and go, okay, we're feeling the stress. Let's take a moment and breathe. And so we would challenge others to do that online and to take the 22 breaths as a way to not only remember those who have lost, but also to keep hold of your own mental.
That's a huge number.
strength.
I didn't realize the number was so big.
It's very heartbreaking to see. And when you see the number of folks that are coming to the cannabis community and are definitely making positive movements by reducing the other medications and putting cannabis into their lives, and some of the other alternative treatments, the EFTs, like you mentioned, the meditations, all of those, float therapy, all of those things are, they need to know that they're available.
Yeah, because they don't know, and they're just looking for something, and they just need somebody to take their hand and say, come over here.
Exactly.
We can do, I just came back from Germany. My granddaughter's husband is in the military. There's stress there. There's stress there. It was like one day they just said to him, okay, you got to go on maneuvers tomorrow. You're leaving for 7 days. That's a tough thing.
And they don't deal with that as, it's my understanding that just kind of gets shoved away into a corner, into a pocket. Buck it up. And then they come back and this is what we're seeing. So I know that we have a lot of folks that are caregivers to veterans or are a loved one of a veteran. And so that our event is meant to be as much for them as it is for the veterans themselves, because we really need to understand how we can communicate in their language and be able to get on their level and be able to contribute.
Well, right now we need to hear from our wonderful sponsors, so don't go away. We'll be right back on Connecting Caregivers Radio.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Choosing the right chiropractor is an important choice to make. Located in Seminole, the Alexander Spine Center team is trained on the latest chiropractic treatments and technologies. At Alexander Spine Center, you'll find chiropractic and physical therapy care that is safe, effective, and a natural approach to pain and other health-related issues. Chiropractic unlocks your body's potential and natural healing process to ensure your life is a healthy life. We treat clients from the womb to the tomb. Call 727-397-3000 for a free consultation today, or visit our website at www.alexanderspinecenter.com.
They take good care of me twice a week. And did you know they got the Reader's Choice Award for 2019 for the best chiropractic in Pinellas County? So check them out. Arden Courts is an assisted living facility designed to care for those that are struggling with dementia or Alzheimer's, where families and residents can feel the freedom with a nurse on site 24/7.
Arden Courts provides specialized memory care in a safe and nurturing environment. They recognize every individual's physical, mental, and social needs and provide a secure environment that fosters independence for as long as possible. Walking paths, visual cues, and home-like amenities invoke a sense of freedom and independence. At Arden Courts, their goal is to make your loved one as comfortable, independent, and healthy as possible. They offer 10 hours a day of activities and programming with a unique setting of a home-like environment and 4 theme houses. It warms my heart to see how happy the residents are. Please call or stop in to talk with a representative. Arden Courts of Seminole at 727-517-7800, Largo 727-559-8411, or Palm Harbor 727-771-1600. Give them a call.
Guaranteed to make you laugh through your tears, Linda Burhan's book, Good Night and God Bless, is filled with humor and heartfelt inspiration to aid anyone facing the challenge of caring for a loved one at the end of life. Her story offers hope for human strength and understanding of weaknesses during a difficult time. Life doesn't normally prepare us to become a loved one's caregiver. When it happens, it's usually sudden. A diagnosis of an illness, age-related frailty, dementia, and life suddenly is anything but normal. And because we don't even know what we don't know, where do we turn to for help or guidance? In Connecting Caregivers, Answers to the Questions You Didn't Know You Needed to Ask, Linda offers information, education, and inspiration from her own experience and from experts whose advice, practical tools, and personal stories will empower and guide you. Make sure to add these inspiring books to your collection today. Available on Amazon.com.
All right, we're off. Get your pen and paper. Lynn's got good stuff to tell you.
I do. On December 15th, there will be a special holiday virtual edition of Crafty Cafe led by Kate McCarty. We'll be putting together holiday decorations and blessing jars. RSVP to Rachel McInerney. You'll see it all on Linda's website.
Yeah, I'll have it all there.
It's long.
Yeah, it's long.
And Rachel will come by and drop everything off that you'll need to do the craft with your loved one ahead of time.
Cool.
So don't be calling from Alaska.
Oh, yeah.
On December 16th at 3 p.m. at the Highland Recreation Complex is a free holiday caregiver event. Taylor Connolly will be speaking on the holidays and how to make them special, whether your loved one is at home or in a community. Afterwards, take a tour next door of Arden Courts and receive a special caregiver gift.
Taylor's fabulous. She's from the Center of
Oh,
Caregiver
it's a girl?
Support.
See,
Yeah,
I didn't
she's
know.
fabulous. We're meeting next weekend.
And you have to RSVP. Go to Linda's site for that. On December 20th at 10 a.m. to noon at Central Ridge Library in Beverly Hills, Florida, Debbie Savage is facilitating a free Alzheimer awareness and care partner workshop. For more information, call 352-422-3663. And then for journaling workshops and support groups facilitated by Linda, our Linda Burhans, go to lindaburhans.com under events.
Thank you. And we have tomorrow we have a caregiver support group. Monday we have a journaling workshop. After the first of the year, both of those are changing to different dates. So I will let all the people that come on know. But you might want to check the website because for some new people, these other times might be better for you. So what did you want to ask before we broke up?
I didn't understand what Delta 8 was.
Delta 8. Oh, yeah. So without, the whole history, we have over 140 cannabinoids in the cannabis plant. And this is cannabis or hemp.
Okay.
It's all the same. It's all like a rose is a rose. The difference between cannabis and hemp is how much THC is in there.
Right.
THC is one of those cannabinoids. CBD is another.
Oh, okay.
THC is Delta 9. And what it is THCA is how it comes raw. And then as you heat it up, oftentimes smoking it, vaporizing it, or if you're going to cook with it, you'll learn like tonight, you decarboxylate it and you activate it. So you make it from a raw to a changed Delta 9 THC. That is the measurable ingredient. That is why we have to have it through the dispensary. Currently, though, Delta 8 has similar properties as Delta-9 and does not have quite the same regulations. It is not a dispensary-led product. So we find we have a lot of folks who are coming in from other states who have their medical cards. And though we are continuing to fight for reciprocity here in the state of Florida, please tell your governing individuals, please, we want reciprocity. We want those folks to come here and be able to get their medicine here. So they don't have that right now. So Delta 8, for those who can't get a medical card but they're visiting, has an option.
Very good.
Yep. So that's something that we find some people don't want to be on lists. A lot of times people are still asking the question of if they can have a gun and have their medical card. And the answer is yes, you can. You do need to get your card before you have to get your gun card before you get your medical marijuana card. And
Bobby, we have a caller?
purchases.
Yes, Pablo is watching your Facebook feed.
Hi, Pablo.
Hi.
How are you today?
Fantastic.
How can we help you?
Well, am I on live right now?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So I'm watching it on and it's still Colette talking. So my name is Pablo. I go by 1620 Marine. I'm a combat veteran, served 4 years in the Marine Corps and deployed to Iraq and Kosovo. And Colette, CR World, was talking about the Wellness Challenge 22. That was one of the veterans that was a part of that, helping host that. And, I just wanted to share that it was such a fantastic event for veterans, bringing the awareness to the 22 veterans that we lose every day. And on a bigger scale, we actually lose 130 people every single day to suicide. So it's a very terrible and large problem. So this event was just touching bases on that. But the event was fantastic. Was able to reach out to a lot of veterans. And I'm also a veteran that suffers with PTSD. And I've used plant medicine and cannabis and CBD to help with my journey with PTSD. And cannabis has actually helped me get into the PTG phase of PTSD. And PTG stands post-traumatic growth. Is the phase when you actually understand your traumas and you deal with it, and you could grow and you could help. And that's what my journey's been on. So I've been lucky and blessed to team up with the center and Colette and really.
Thanks, Pablo. I don't want to cut you short, but the show is just about to the end.
Okay. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks for calling in.
Listeners.
Last thing to our listeners.
Last thing to the listeners, come and visit us at the center at St. Pete Beach, 75th and Blind Pass Road, and enjoy some of the award-winning Cuban food at the restaurant Cuba in La Playa, which is also a part of the center. They were the official Cuban of the Super Bowl last year.
Oh, very cool.
You got to come and check us out.
Go there.
Ask for any one of us, and we'll be able to help you out and give you more information on how cannabis CBD can help.
Thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Okay, everybody, we'll see you next week. Remember, God loves you all the time, and have a delicious day.
Should turn dark and full of clouds, and that old north wind should look in the